Is this the car that gets Lincoln back into the North American luxury car game? The 2020 Lincoln Corsair is the smallest of the SUVs and crossovers from Lincoln. It's also replacing the MKC, and it's the latest family member to get the updated Lincoln design language. But the thing I love best about it are these little hints to old school North American luxury, little tips of the hat to decades gone past when Lincoln was one of the top dogs. But is that enough to get you to say "Nein Danke" to the Germans and "How y'all doing" to the Lincolns? As soon as you get in here, you have these little hints of nostalgia, these little design elements that you remember from old school cars. Things like the piano key gear shift up here, the longer, thinner, sort of chrome framed air vents. Same thing with the door handles. They're sort of deep set and flush with the door panel, and you've got that extended chrome line. I say chrome, but it's plastic. And then on the outside, you've got things like the Corsair badge, which has this old school romantic sort of font and appearance to it, exactly like they're doing with the Aviator as well. So this is on the same platform as the brand new Ford Escape. We reviewed the hybrid not that long ago. I'll put a card up top. You can click on that and have a look at that. And usually you would see a lot of similarities in it. There are some things in here which you recognize, which are Ford and from the Escape, but for the most part, it is unrecognizable. It feels like a completely different car. There are two trim levels and two engine options. So the first one is the 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbocharged EcoBoost, and that's putting out 250 horsepower. That is also in the top option of the Ford Escape, and that is adequate. I don't think you need to spend any more money and get the upgraded engine, which is available in the second trim level, which is in this one. It's the 4-cylinder 2.3-litre engine putting out 295 horsepower, and that's carried over from the MKC. It's in a couple of other Ford models as well. They're both connected to the 8-speed automatic transmission, which I've had no complaints with, and it's all-wheel drive standard in Canada. You can still get the Corsair as base as a front-wheel drive in the States, and it's a front-biased all-wheel drive. So primarily it will run as a front-wheel drive, better fuel economy that way, and then when you do need some traction, it'll send some to the back wheels. And just on those two engine options, the mileage or the fuel economy on both of them are virtually identical. 9.8 litres per 100 kilometres combined, or around 24 miles per gallon. So those nostalgic design elements is something I've quite enjoyed, and it really sets it apart from what this car is going up against in the compact luxury crossover market, which is the BMW X3, the Mercedes GLC, the Audi Q5, maybe even the Volvo XC60, and on the bottom end, maybe something like the Acura RDX. There are certain things that always let down the North American luxury car brands, which is just the finishings on things. I mean, around all of this, while it looks really nice, it's all plastic, all of that. One of the simple tests is just this moves about, center console moves. In BMWs, that doesn't really happen. And you can see, while these are all sort of a lot of soft touch finishings and so on, it is still quite plasticky compared to some of those competitors. But one thing this does very, very well is family space, one row back. Space back here is excellent. So I've got second row legroom over 38 inches in the second row, which is more than the X3, the Q5, the GLC. This is set to where I drive. I'm 6 feet tall and I have loads of space back here. These also slide back and forth. They also recline, which is excellent. They're not as soft as the front ones. These are optional, these seats. These are actually massage seats at the front, which I'll get to. And on that quality of finishing, what I was talking to before, like all hard plastics, and interestingly, where they've cut some corners, on the front, this panel here is like soft touch, but here, that's hard plastic. Whatever, okay. So in the back, you do actually have heated rear seats here. You've got two USB outlets and also the 110 volt outlet. You've got rear climate control. So excellent space on this second row. The rear facing kid seat test is not a problem because the front passenger has plenty of space. The dash at the front is quite slim. It's pushed all the way forward and it's very up and down. So loads of space for the passenger with the rear facing kid seat test as well. You do have the center armrest and you have the drinks. Now I want to check the middle seat because in the Escape, this was cheap and uncomfortable. It doesn't feel the same. It feels better. I just had to check that. Let's check out the trunk. Another place where it does really well, so 780 litres or 27 cubic feet of cargo space at the back, which again is more than the X3, more than the GLC, more than the Q5, so it's pretty decent. Our standardized test, stroller, 2 bags of groceries, camera gear, soccer ball, passes it no problem. You do have a 12-volt outlet here, and conveniently you can also put the back seats down from the press of a button. Can't put them up, but you can put them down if you want to. You've got a movement activated power lift gate as well, which is very handy. You can also do it on your key fob. Let's go drive it. So this is a soft, smooth, comfortable, I was almost going to say plush and floaty ride. I wondered if they had deliberately made it like a bit floaty like the Lincoln of old, but no. Then I realized they've got these integrated bushes on the rear suspension which do a fantastic job of soaking up the bumps and vibration from the road before they get to the cabin, and it's very noticeable. It's a really nice, comfortable ride in here, and the outside noise is cut out really nicely. You've got a driving mode dial down here, and if I've got one complaint, on this nice 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, which is pretty good, nice and crisp, not overly customizable. That's where your driving modes will pop up, and they don't come up fast enough. When you're trying to go through all the driving modes, they take so long to display themselves and let you know which one you're in. But you've got a decent catalog here. So you've got deep conditions like snow or mud or sand. You've got slippery conditions. You have normal. You've got conserve, so you can get the best fuel economy, and then you've got the one which I spend most of my time in, which is excite, which is responsive and engaging, but not too much. It dials everything up, but not too much to the point where city driving is going to be a bit annoying in it. It's actually not too bad. And if I just do a bit of a takeoff here, I'll put it into the excite mode and show you one thing that I did notice with the power delivery. So this is 295 horsepower from the 2.3 litre 4-cylinder, and there's just one thing. Two things. First, when you're going, it's sort of the curve, the power curve just doesn't keep on going. It just hits this spot and you don't get any more out of it. And then the other thing I've found is this, it's a bit twitchy at times in terms of, so just then when I was going along and at the end, I took my foot off the accelerator, it's slow to respond with that, and it sort of kept boosting forward a little bit. I've found that multiple times while driving this car. It will actually, when you do take your foot off the accelerator, it will keep pushing forward just a tiny bit. But in terms of the rest of it, you have a stack of luxurious features in this car, and most of them are optioned in. So this will start at $44,000 in Canada, and then the top trim, this one, the Reserve, is $50,000. But this car, this is just over $68,000 because it's got so many options to it. And the difference of the two trims initially isn't too much. There's a couple of nice things, nothing major, and the rest of it can actually be optioned in. So this has a full suite of driver safety features, and you have that with the Co-Pilot 360, but from base, which is, you get it in standard, it doesn't have too much. It's got your blind spot, it'll have your lane departure warning, your emergency collision mitigation, but then if you want the Co-Pilot 360 Plus, that's going to give you all the good stuff. Like, you got to option in adaptive cruise and your lane keep, your 360-degree camera. But if you do have those things, it gets a top safety pick from the IAHS and a 5-star rating from the NHTSA. Other things this has got in it, the massage chairs, which I mentioned, which is probably ridiculous. Some people might like them. They've actually been reasonably nice, but you can save a little bit of money there. This has got a wireless charging pad, which is sitting in your glove box, which is a nice feature, but you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but if you want to use that, you got to plug it in. So with that infotainment system, this is the Sync 3 system, which is pretty good. It's fast, it's responsive, it's got a decent amount of options to it. You've got an 8-inch screen, which at times feels just a little bit too small. It'd be nice for it to be a little bit bigger. You do have really good options on your steering wheel, and one of the nice design features I like is that the functions change on your steering wheel depending on which way you do it. So you've got a little settings thing with the knob here, and if you hit that, your options to hit next actually change. Reverse camera is not too bad. The resolution's nice and crisp, and you've got the 360-degree camera, but when you've got that split and on an 8-inch screen, it is pretty small. These seats are also about 24-way adjustable. They do lots of different things. They've even got the cushion extenders, which are split, so it pops out either side. So if you're a decent height. You can adjust it however you like. The premium sound system is really nice also. One thing I didn't like with the Escape also is just how wide your armrests are though. It's really, you have to really get the wings out to try and rest both arms at the same time. You've also got a really nice head-up display. It's wide and it's crisp, and the difference in this to the Escape was still using that plastic old technology in the shield for your head-up display, which is really annoying, but this one really nails it. So in the US, this starts at $35,945. Remember, you can get that as a front-wheel drive as standard, and then the Reserve up to $42,630. In Canada, it starts at $44,700 and then gets to $50,500 for the Reserve. And this one, as tested, this has got $16,000 worth of options. This is $68,925. But I don't think you need to spend that much. You can get the base model and then option in the nice features that you might want and be able to spend a lot less than $68,000. But it's the right direction for Lincoln. Quite like this car. Hopefully you found this review useful. If you did, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can catch all our reviews as soon as they come out every single week. Until next time, from Family Wheels, I'm Kai.